Hello and welcome to Eavesdropping at the Movies. I'm Mike.
And I'm Jose.
And we've just been to see Bring Her Back, which I knew nothing about other than the trailers have been popping up on YouTube, and it looked really creepily put together. Like there was like people with sort of skin issues and blood and grime and all that sort of stuff. And I don't think there was much context to it. I didn't even know Sally Hawkins was in it from the trailer, who was the star of it really. You, I don't think, will have known anything either.
I knew nothing about it at all.
And I also can only imagine you had quite a rough time during some of it.
I did. I mean, I did think through half of the film, I think, what kind of mentality? Because I felt it was like pure torture, really. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, initially, I didn't know where the film was going. I had no sense what it was about. You know, so there's a kind of a supernatural dimension that crops up later. But initially, you just think it's like a crazy woman being really cruel to kids in a way that seemed almost unconscionable, really. Like, I almost walked out. I thought, but I can't walk out on Mike, was my thinking.
I did wonder whether you might, because it's the first film I've seen in a while that has made me think about ethical boundaries in terms of the use of children in horror.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
We'll maybe come on to that. I'll say briefly what it's about, and without spoilers. We start off with a 17-year-old boy called Andy and his younger stepsister, Piper, who's partially sighted. Their dad dies. So it's his dad biologically. It's her adopted dad. And he dies in the shower. So they're sent to foster parents. This foster parent is played by Sally Hawkins. She lives in quite a large house in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Always a clue.
Yeah. Horror films often start off with house in the middle of nowhere and a trip to it. Yes. And we see that very early on, you know. She fosters another kid there called Ollie, who's even younger. He seems to be on the age of 8 or so. Who's immediately we see him as kind of he's a bit of a weird kid, this one, and he's mute. And Sally Hawkins has lost her daughter, we learn. And, you know, to say a lot more than that would be going into spoiler territory quite quickly, but it's clear that Sally Hawkins' character has secrets and issues, secrets, and also plans.
Yeah, you're told right away because she's got a dog and it's stuffed, right? Her dog is stuffed. Yeah. And already, you know, that begins, like, what kind of,
Most people don't stuff and keep their dogs. Some do, but she's giving a very creepy impression straight away. Or creepy is probably overdoing it. When you first meet her, she's sort of overbearingly, sort of weirdly welcoming in a kind of way that you go, is she all right, this woman?
Yeah, and then she becomes weirdly aggressively manipulative.
Yeah.
Right. And
so we are going to get sort of into spoiler territory, I think, from but like one of the things early on is that we see that Andy, the boy, has been wetting himself while he sleeps, and we very quickly are taught that she has been doing that. She's been collecting her own urine, pouring it on his underwear to manipulate him into thinking that he has been doing it himself.
Yeah. I thought it was all like, well, my initial thing was that I thought it was kind of unethical and unconscionable, really. And also I was confused because I didn't know where the film was going, right? So like you said, she's lost her daughter. Initially you think that her adopting is a way of compensating for the loss of her daughter, right? But only that, to have someone in the house that she could help, since she wasn't able to help her daughter. And then it goes into a more supernatural strand. Which you initially think is just in her head. Is it just like, someone who's been watching too many TikToks, right? But then you see some of the effects of that, like kind of in the young boy. So there's a kind of a witchcraft which you're meant to take seriously up to a certain point. Yeah.
I think you're supposed to take it seriously kind of throughout. And I would say that, unlike you, I never thought it was only in her head, because I think the way that information is given to you as to what she's doing and the effect that it has happens at, roughly speaking, the same time. The big first clue is the videotapes that she watches, which teaches her this ritual. So she's trying to, spoilers, bring her daughter back from the dead. And I didn't hate this film, right? I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And one of the things that I think it does quite well is handle handing out of that information. Because what you'll often find in a film like this is nothing but questions for a long time. And then, you'll get it would probably be the Andy character will come across, because he's suspicious, he'll go digging and he'll come across the tapes. He'll come across the book that explains it. That's the kind of thing these films have. All that information is given to you. Here, you're actually left with ambiguity for quite some time, and that information is given to you slowly. So you get the sense that she's performing some ritual on the Ollie character. Then it turns into, okay, he's possessed by some kind of thing, and then it turns into, we see through that, I think it's like a Russian sort of ritual cult videotape, just from some very simple subtitles on it. The flesh of the dead body is eaten, and then the soul is purged into the new body. And it only takes those two lines and the imagery that goes along with it to show you, we're going to transfer a soul from one body into another, and you add that to, she misses her daughter. I don't think we've seen the frozen daughter's body by this point, but you kind of put that together. I think that is handled very well, actually. It gives you plenty of time to ruminate on it and that sort of thing.
I mean, I have mixed feelings, because I hated the experience of watching the film. I think there are many things that are exciting cinematically, right? Kind of the way that some things are shot, and through windows, and the use of fog, to kind of see partially, or the use of rain, to kind of there's a real cinematic know-how, about the way that those things are presented. I don't know anything about the filmmakers, and is it patronizing to say that I was surprised that they're young. And also, kind of having seen the film, then their youth works against them. Because, I think there's something in the film that could have been very substantive, about grief and loss, and, that the film doesn't carry through,
So I sort of think, we should say that the filmmakers are Danny and Michael Philippou. You can tell from their Greek surname that they're Australian. A lot of the best Australians are Greek descent. Postecoglou, Lazaridis. I love them all. And these guys, I definitely don't hate. I completely agree with you that there is cinematic nous in this. I was thinking, despite the fact I think there's really nothing underpinning all of this, like thematically, this is very weak. It's all for effect. It really is. And sometimes it's really only to disgust. It's not even for like a scary effect necessarily, although that is scary to some people, but a disgusting effect at times, which is, not all that pleasant. And even I slightly struggle with some points, and I kind of relish sort of people going over the top
You do.
and the kind of Grand Guignol sort of stuff. It was a little bit much for me at times. I was going, oh Christ, so God knows how you must have been feeling. Despite the fact it's only for effect, they do know how to get those effects. They understand composition, they understand lighting, focus, camera movement, camera angles, things like this, timing of edits. The film also has a good sense of how to put you in the headspace of someone who's suffering from a very recent trauma, with the cutting back to the images of the dad in the shower, and it does that sort of. It's not just like at random, but it has it does kind of match cuts and things to do that. So there's real technique here that I was surprised by.
But the storytelling is weak. So for example, what did the father die of? Right. It's unclear. He's got something in his mouth, so it could be a drug overdose, I suppose.
Well, I think you're supposed to put together. I agree it's not spelled out, but the Sally Hawkins character at one point says, and it's quite early on, says, "I killed your father." And it's supposed to be like, I don't know whether she does it just for a laugh to herself or something. She says it, and then he goes, "What do you say?" And she doesn't say it again.
Right.
And I think you're supposed to pick up, combine that with when Andy wakes up in the morning, having been interfered with by Sally Hawkins. Not only are his pants wet, but also there's a kind of foamy drool from his mouth.
Yes.
And again, never explained. I was thinking, is that just drool, or is there something else? The camera is looking at it for you.
Yes.
So like there's a focus on it, and I think that combined with what we've seen of the dad in the shower, I think you're supposed to put together that she somehow identified the girl as the right vessel for the soul of her daughter.
For the daughter. Yeah, so I think you get that sense later on.
But actually, that does happen off screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put the two and two together of her murdering the father, right? Though the other connections, I did make the connection, but I didn't have a solution to the connection. Yeah, so the drool in the father, the drool in the son. You think, what's going on here, right? But I wasn't clever enough to connect those two things. It didn't quite make sense to me. So I think this is a film in which, so you're saying that the information is fed to the audience kind of in a very good and clever way, and I agree with that up to a point. But then I also think there are fundamental kind of problems of storytelling. Yeah. So
as to like motivation and
and kind of and character. I mean, the whole bringing up of the son's abuse, and by the father, and then kind of the father always favoring the daughter and making the parallelism with Sally Hawkins' character, and then killing him off at the end. I just kind of didn't get, right? And then you think, oh, well, maybe that's good. Maybe, it's like their view of the world is so bleak that, to kind of keep the boy alive would be, to kind of bring family to the fore in a way that maybe they didn't want, And I get all of that, but at the same time, the film really kind of misses out on all of that stuff, I think it's kind of cold.
The filmmakers, the Philippou twins, are 32. I don't know if I said their age, but and they've made one feature film before this, Talk to Me, which I haven't seen, which apparently is to do with the use of a severed hand to kind of bring back the dead in some way or other. Don't know anything about it. And before that, they were YouTubers, and they were making kind of horror films on YouTube and vlogging and things like this. And again, I'm not familiar with their YouTube stuff at all. I only just found this out looking on Wikipedia. But I think that maybe speaks to the kind of superficiality that I feel in this film, despite the the production value and the look and all that sort of thing, which is they've clearly learned it from somewhere, right? These aren't ignorant filmmakers,
and
they've
got a real visual eye.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, that's where I think it kind of you see very little on YouTube that you come out going, oh, that was really, really complex and deep. You know what I mean?
I mean, that last image. So, fully in spoiler territory. But that last image of Sally Hawkins embracing her daughter in the pool, you think, it's like so unearned, really. Like, it's kind of one of those images where you think, oh, what a great image. And then you think, well, how does it condense the film? Or what does it tell you, or whatever? And you think, nothing, really. Like, because the film could have been a treatise on grief, but actually, it really isn't, because so little of the Sally Hawkins character outside of her manipulations and her torture of these children. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, we understand how much she misses her daughter.
Yes, they tell us that.
We tell us that, and we see the one point where she's watching the video of her daughter, but we also get the sense, I think, at that point that she's watching it because we've been told that the other daughter, Piper, has to die in the same way her daughter did. And so you also see it as kind of, is she like rehearsing that? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Then, so the only way in which we understand the extent and the kind of her grief is through the fact that she is willing to do what she's doing to correct it. Not the extent, not what she loved about her daughter and the time they shared, all that kind of stuff. How sad it was, the way she died, whatever. That is taken as read almost. The film does a kind of a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump to certain things, including that thing you're saying at the end about the unearned ending. Like, it jumps into her kind of giving up on the ritual that she's trying to enact into just embracing her daughter kind of quite quickly.
I think the film is very misjudged in several aspects, actually. So the first one is that because it doesn't give you enough background on Sally Hawkins' grief, the film is then read too easily as, I forget what Wikipedia calls it, but like something like biddy horror, or old biddy horror or something.
Psycho biddy. The psycho biddy, which is not a term I was familiar with.
I wasn't familiar with it either, but you can see how so many films fit into it, really. So, kind of, without knowing more about her, she's just a psycho biddy, really. And then that's matched by the treatment of the boy, right? Because, you know, the boy is the conscience of the film.
The young boy, Ollie, or the older boy, Andy?
The older boy, the
Right.
brother, yeah.
Yeah.
He's 3 months out of turning 18 and being able to properly care for his sister on his own.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly loves her, he protects her, he's the one who's been set up and made to suffer throughout,
Yeah.
right? So then, the end, the way that he's killed, right, is so undramatic, right? She strangles him, if you remember, yeah?
She hits him with the car, then she drowns him in the puddle.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a suggestion that he's still alive after that. Yeah, he whispers to his sister.
Yeah.
Right. And then you don't really know, is he alive or, you know, which I think those things could have been signaled more clearly, really.
Well, I think the point was the ambiguity at that point, because we don't know. Then once we understand that he's not alive and she's gone into the room where Ollie is, I think what you're supposed to get, or at least what I'm pretty sure I figured out, was that having consumed Andy's flesh, he now contains Andy's soul, can speak with her voice. I mean, you're giving the film, you're kind of meeting it more than halfway in some respect, but I think it's fair to have taken that from it, which is what I took from it.
Okay, well, I didn't take that. I mean, I didn't get that. But I think, you know, the death, or the death in the real world, as opposed to the spiritual realm or the ghost realm or the monster realm or whatever, should have been given more weight than it's been given. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because after all, it's the loss of the only love and conscience in the film at that moment, right? So I think more could have been done with that, right?
Yeah.
Rather than just seeing her hands on his neck as, you know, she pushes him into this puddle and his fingers give up. I think he deserved a more grandiose and a better ending. And then I also think that, to me, there was something unexplained. So she escapes, right? She gets into a car, and then there's that shot where she's looking up and you see the helicopter. And I wondered, what the hell is that? What is the helicopter meant to signify? What is that scene?
Was it a helicopter?
Yeah, it seemed like there was she looks up at the sky and there's a helicopter flying.
Well, I would imagine, although I don't remember exactly how that was going, but I would imagine that's connected to, we see then the police scouring the grounds.
Yes.
But as to the connective tissue of when the call to the police happened, what they know and when that's all happening that's not explained. But I would imagine that's why that's being shown to you, to show like the search and
it lingers too much.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's also indicating a freedom of some sort, looking out the window, looking up, seeing light, because we know that she's partially sighted, she can see lights and shapes.
Well, I did wonder if that was going to be a moment where it was revealed now she can see or something, right? Because, you know, you get the feeling that the way that the shots are composed and the length of them are meant to indicate something more than I got.
I mean, I think you're supposed to feel that sense of freedom. It's a shot and a sort of, or a sequence of shots that you've seen before in certain things, and you do get it at the end of, like the final girl thing.
I know, but how are you meant to experience a sense of freedom when all this girl has suffered is loss? And she's all alone in the world. And
I would go along with you to say that I think it's unearned. The way you spoke about the final shot, I think it's an imitation of that kind of moment in a film without really understanding it or how you get there. Because I think, superficially, I think it's supposed to communicate that, but it really doesn't. You don't feel it.
Anyway, Sally Hawkins is marvelous. That's kind of,
she's really good. Yeah.
The one bit of unrestrained praise I can offer, and it's kind of like a loss because, you know, she won the Oscar for The Shape of Water, and then she's basically done very little, and usually in kind of small supporting parts. Like,
she won the Oscar, did she? She was nominated.
Oh, I thought she won it.
I don't believe so. I will double check this. Academy Awards, no, 2 nominations, no wins. Nominated for Blue Jasmine and The Shape of Water. Yeah.
But she didn't win.
No.
Okay. Anyway, she made such a huge impression on that, and you expected her to do more things, really, and more interesting things. I mean, I suppose this is the most interesting role she's had since.
Probably, yeah.
You know, so it makes you aware of, you know, kind of what a waste of a talent, you know, that the film industry hasn't been, the film and television industries haven't kind of been more attentive to what, kind of that great actress can offer. And I think this is definitely a reminder, because she plays on so many different registers and she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that she's had to go to Australia to find an interesting role. This is an Australian-made film.
Right. Okay.
Although it's got like A24 and Sony kind of releasing all over. I don't know the extent to which those companies were involved in its making, but certainly they've gone and released it. But it's Australia. I mean, and the Philippou brothers, from what I understand, they say like they want to make films in Australia. Right? They are Australian. They want to support Australian film culture. They're in Australian film culture, which is the kind of thing I really like. I mean, you can sort of tell. It's interesting, actually. I was thinking, to what extent does this film feel Australian? And part of it is certain kind of degrees of setting, although not so much. You could transplant more or less most of the scenes and locales in this film to America and call it American. You go, yeah, that's America.
Could be Portland or something.
Yeah. But there is, I think it may be something about the gore and the level of violence. You kind of associate the kind of some of the best known Australian films you associate with kind of extreme visuals in those respects sometimes. Maybe it fits in with those.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the sense of space and social services and so on kind of are definitely not English, let's put it that way. And they're not American either. So, I would be hard pressed, not being Australian myself, to say that it is, it evokes Australia, but it certainly kind of, doesn't evoke Britain. Or indeed, America, really. I mean, certain things do. I suppose the landscape could be Oregon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? I mean, the size of the houses and so on could very well be American. Yeah, but then all those things like the school bus, the after school things, kind of, it's not Trump's America, that's for sure.
I also want to mention the young actors in it, because I thought they were good too. Sora Wong plays Piper, Billy Barrett is Andy, and Jonah Wren Phillips is Ollie. Who we would later find out that's not his name either. And he's the one, that I'm sort of really interested to think about, because like I said at the start, it's the first time in a while that I thought, is this ethically right?
Yes.
And so the big name in the terrible ethical treatment of children in film is The Exorcist.
Linda Blair. Yeah.
That's kind of very well known, the way she was treated and what she was put through at whatever age. I don't know, she was 11 or 12, maybe younger.
I forget.
Quite a young age. And this is this is not like an accusation on the filmmakers at all. Like, I have no idea what the conditions were like on this film. I'm not really talking about that. I'm sure they were kind of looked after. I mean, you wouldn't get away with not looking after kids to kind of the industry standards, if you like, these days. But there was something about like the things that we were shown. The Ollie character doing in particular. The Ollie character is possessed by this demon. It's incredibly hungry, and she keeps telling him, "No, not yet, not yet," because the idea is to feast on the daughter and then purge that soul, as I said, into the other girl. So don't eat, and so the kid is ravenously hungry, and when it has the opportunity, I say it because it's this demon character. When it has the opportunity, it's chewing on tables, ripping parts out, teeth coming out. And then at one point we see it gets hold of a very sharp knife and sticks it into its face. It's chewing on this knife onto the blade. And this is some of that stuff that I said is just purely there to disgust.
Yeah.
This is like only giving you so much information about how hungry the kid is. I know the kid's hungry, but this is really doing it. And that's when I was starting to think, like, I don't know how I feel about this.
No, it's very uncomfortable. And it does feel like a form of child abuse, actually. And it's not just that. I mean, there's also that image of him chewing on the corpse in the fridge.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know it's just make-believe and whatever, but it felt too much. And the only thing that it has going for it, unlike the Linda Blair character, right, is it's not sexualized, which the Linda Blair character was, right? It was all, putting a crucifix up, her vagina. So we are spared that. But that's about all that we're spared with in relation to that, child.
Yeah, that and no swearing, I suppose.
Yeah.
But there's just, but yeah, there's like it's not the because you do think, well, am I then saying this is imagery you shouldn't be able to create, you shouldn't be able to show? Well, no, I don't think so. Like, I'm an adult, I can accept, entertainment. This, it's kind of to the extent that this is entertaining. It's also, as I say, kind of disgusting, unpleasant, and so on. But like, I can accept that. But the question of how the children involved in its creation kind of can handle it. You know?
It felt like child torture.
This is still like an 8, 9, 10-year-old boy doing this. No matter that they're a professional actor doing it.
It does leave like a sour taste, because it is a child who's doing all of these things, and you wonder to what extent do they understand, or they don't understand, and you understand that there is imagination at work and that it is only a movie, and so on. But this, to me, that seemed to cross boundaries, and also for no particular reason. The child is there as a figure of monstrosity, as something to terrify us with. The link to the rest of the plot is, I wouldn't say tenuous. I mean, you get it, right? But, the extent to, why is it even necessary, really? Like, what does that character do, aside from being the cause of all our disgust?
In the story?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it teaches us the kind of things that Sally Hawkins' character will do and has already done in the pursuit of her goal, and the kind of cruelty that she's capable of. I don't think it's completely unjustified in that respect. I think it has a story purpose. The story can easily be told without it in other ways. I'm not saying like it's there's only one version of this story you can tell, but I don't think it's totally unjustified in a story sense.
Okay, well, it's not totally unjustified. It's not fully justified either, because basically what we're told is Sally Hawkins can do this. Her plan was to do this with him to bring up her child. She's now found a better avenue for doing that, right? So, that could have been told, it could have been shown. You could have had him as a ghostly figure in the shed, right, and kind of conveyed information other ways. To present the child like that...
What was the better avenue, that you're talking about? You said she finds a better avenue for what she wants to do.
Yes, the girl.
Oh, no, see, I think that, again, this is those tapes, I think this ritual... Because we also told she's put this, she calls it an angel, I think we're supposed to see it as a demon, into this child's body, and we see that imagery of kind of movement within the body at points. So I think the idea is this kid is possessed, and the thing that is inside him will conduct this movement from the one soul from the one girl into the other. The kid is the vessel.
Okay.
I think.
Anyway, I think I was quite attentive. I didn't drift off or anything. So, and mind you, horror's not my genre, so maybe I'm not as adept in kind of receiving things from the narrative as other people are. So maybe I'm just a bit slow with it. But I think a lot of things could have been kind of made clearer and more explicit. When I think about it, those are two major flaws. Well, three. They're all major flaws, right? Sally Hawkins, us not being given enough background on her grief, on her feeling, on her motivation for this. The young boy kind of being killed off, and in the way that he was killed off, and then Ollie, his deployment, and how he is the major source of the disgusting scares in the film. Mm-hmm. It all is troubling to me. Kind of. So,
I would say this is the work of people who have real talent in some areas, and not in others, and maybe not even enough attention to the kind of things they could be doing in other areas, because it didn't feel like it had a purpose beyond the disgust and stuff, and it's like, as we said, it understands that it needs to convey something about grief. It tries to end in the way that it does, but it doesn't have a good idea of how it's going to get there, what it needs to do with it, all that kind of stuff. It's not really its interest.
It's unearned.
So, We'll see. We'll see what more there is to go. I mean, it's so easy as well, I think, once you find out that the filmmakers are 32 years old, to kind of ascribe everything to their youth.
Yes.
Because I think, which is a mistake, because, were this film made by, I mean, anyone, a 55-year-old man, you wouldn't, but you would have the same problems with it, right?
You would, except, and again, maybe I'm being passionate, and I completely agree with everything that you say about their age. But on the other hand, it's hard for me to imagine somebody a bit older who wouldn't have some experience of grief and loss. Yeah.
And would have made, and then the film would have been different because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so. But I mean, I don't want to, I suspect myself of making that error in talking about it, because, like I say, once you find out their age, you can fixate on it, and I don't want to do that.
I suspect you're right, so it's definitely a flaw in the film. Now, the flaw might be attributed to other reasons. They could just be careless or, or uninterested in, the thematic developments the material kind of inherently has possibilities with.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it's not there, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm 36. I'm 37 in a week or two. And just imagine how much they will learn and grow in that 5 years. Like, the filmmakers they will be when they're 37.
Yes,
they'll be completely different people. I mean, I do sort of think that, like, if I go, we must have started this podcast before I was 32.
Yes.
If I go back and listen to the sort of things I was saying back then, I'd probably sound much dumber, even than now.
I don't know.
Who knows? And so you think, like, I mean, 5 years could be, enough to make a really big difference in the kind of stories that they're telling.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think, kind of when you're dealing with artists, and, I think they definitely have the possibility of being real artists. I mean, they certainly have an eye. Like, they can create visuals and they can create space, right? But I just think what's missing in the work is thematic complexity.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I do think that age is a factor, experience is a factor, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe those are things to look forward to in their work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a huge amount of potential in them, certainly.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. And on that note, we'll end. So thank you very much for listening. We're eavesdropping at the movies, and we are on
Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and YouTube Music. On social media, we're on Facebook and Twitter at Eavesdrop Movies, and Blue Sky, eavesdropping.bsky.social. And the website is eavesdroppingatthemovies.com.
Thank you very much for listening.
Bye-bye. Oh, one thing first, actually.
What?
Close your eyes. This is my present for you from the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
Hold your hand out.
Uh-huh.
There you go. You've got it.
Oh, wow, okay. What is it? Oh, thank you. Oh, director's cut.
Well, read the rest of it.
Zoetrope.
That's Francis Ford Coppola wine.
Well, thank you very much.
From his vineyard. And I think that's from before he sold it as well. So it's got his feet all over it.
Well, I'll wait for a special occasion to open it and drink it with you.
It might be rubbish.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
But
that wine paid for...
put it to the side.
The film he made, whatever it was called. I can't remember the film.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I keep
what's
thinking Maelstrom or something like that. But
what was that fucking film called? We liked it. That's outrageous. Why can't we think of it?
Millennium?
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis, yeah.
Yeah.